So you're either new to shooting, or you may have had a little shooting experience and you're out trying a new gun and you're having some problems. You're struggling maybe with accuracy, or you're trying to figure out how to get started with testing and improving your accuracy and your shooting skills in general. And if you've watched the other, hopefully you've watched the other videos before you watch this one. If you haven't, go back and watch the other 5 videos in this series, starting with your grip and your trigger control and your arms and your eyes and your platform. Got a lot of shooting going on in the background over here. It's probably drowning my voice out, but hopefully not too bad. Anyway, over my shoulder here you can see a target stand with multiple targets on it. Those are Dirty Bird targets. They splatter, have a little splatter mark on them when you hit them. But if you were starting out, so right now if you were coming to the range, you're going to try that gun that you've got. You're brand new, or you're trying a new gun, or you've had a little experience and you're trying to work this all out, but something's just not working for you. When you come out to the range, if you came out to the range by yourself with some targets and a gun right now, what would you do with that target? Where would you start out? Would you start out where I'm standing right here, about 20 yards away from it? Pretty good distance. Is that where you would start out with your target and begin to shoot? And if you have, are you having problems at that range or something in between this? Let me show you something, a better way to start in getting your handgun skills developed. And this is no matter what you've done up to this point. Take that gun and do this. Come this close to the target to fire your first shots. This close. If from the camera angle that looks like my gun's about 8 or 9 inches away from the target, that's exactly where it is. You see, for every 1/8 of an inch or so that your hand moves in any direction, left, down, if you're left-handed, maybe right and down would be more common. Either way, for every 1/8 of an inch, when you're back 20 yards like that, if your hand moves 1/8 of an inch when you shoot that gun, when you pull that trigger, it can throw your shot off by 4 to 6 inches, that long, from back there. Starting right here, you get a sense of where your gun is shooting. I'm going to fire a couple rounds at this target from right here and just kind of work you through this and show you how to take your target placement and use it within 10 minutes to get down exactly what you need to do to improve your accuracy and to correct any shooting problems that you're having. Starting this close and gradually moving back. I'll show you how this works. I had to switch this out and get some target backing, so I'm going to start over here. Still doing this from about 1 foot away, or a little bit less actually, with the gun muzzle. What you notice right there is that's 3 rounds that actually touching each other. 2 of them went through the same hole. This is where you're standing here at a target. You're standing this close. You can see, if you were standing back there 20 yards, you'd be really happy with this. But as you move back, you're going to find out that any movement in your hand is going to be problematic insofar as how much it's going to move those rounds to either side or up or down. So I'm going to move back about 2 full steps and let you see it from back there. Starting from the distance I was at right there, you can see, you can point your gun and you can see what's shooting where I'm pointing. And I actually pointed a little bit low there, but the bottom line is it's pointing right where the muzzle of the gun is. No, that's not problematic as far as where it hit that target. So I've moved back 2 full steps, about 6 yards. So we're going to see what it looks like on the second target there from this distance, shooting exactly the same spot, aiming exactly the same place. As far as relation to the bullseye, you can see those spread out just a little bit there. I still shot 2 of them a little bit low. One of them just a little bit, one of them a little further down, and one of them's touching the bullseye. But you can see the difference. I aimed at that one and pulled the trigger just like I did on the one on the top. But how close I was is what made the difference. You can see where the gun is shooting from the distance you are. Now, because I'm standing back here 3 feet, I would do it a couple times from right here. So I'm gonna do it again in the same target, Same second target, I'm gonna shoot again from right here. 3 rounds. And I improved that a little bit, and I'm okay right there. So what I'm seeing right there is the gun doesn't have any accuracy problems. Now, I may have been standing back there 20 yards trying this as a new shooter or somebody that's trying a new gun, and those may have been completely off the target because I'm back there, I'm not real familiar with the gun. There's some movement in my hand, I don't know what it is or don't recognize it, but that slight movement in your hand up this close, you can see what the problem is. So I saw what the problem was on the first couple and bore down and got in the bullseye. So I'm gonna step back now, 2 more full steps. This time I'm gonna be back about 13 feet, but instead of zooming in on me and the target, I'm gonna zoom in on the target so you can see it a little bit better and see how it's turning out, just shooting exactly the same way, but moving back a few more feet. I'm back at about 13 feet now. Let's see what happens. The top right target this time. Aiming, shooting the exact same way. You can see from that first one I let go of a bad flyer there, and then the other 2 are touching the bullseye. So what I've done from that first one, as I see on that first target shooting this far away, is shooting pretty much where I'm pointing it. On the second target, it moves around a little bit because any movement in my hand is so minute from a little bit more distance lets me know where I'm shooting and how much movement there is in my hand. Moving back even further, aside from the flyer, on the other 2 shots, they're both touching the bullseye, which means I've been able to correct what I did in the second one. Even though I'm further back, I've been able to correct it. Now, I'm gonna take 2 more steps back. This will be enough to illustrate what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna go back from 13, I'm gonna go back to 20 feet is what I'm gonna do, and shoot the second one on the right. And again, I'll zoom in on it, just so you can see how it progresses from that first target where I started this far away to 20 feet. Here we go. Well, I didn't have my camera on when I shot the 4th target there, but I had 2 that touched the bullseye. I had one, the first shot was a flyer that went off about 4 inches down, but I'm gonna shoot I'll do it again. I'm gonna shoot the target on the left bottom from 20 feet. What this all shows here, even though I obviously don't hit the bullseye on everyone, on those last 2, I had 2 of them either touching or in the bullseye on each target, and 1 flyer. I seem to be prone to a first shot flyer today when I'm doing this out from a distance. But here's what is important about this test, is that I can see from this, no matter where I put one of the bullets off from where I was meaning to shoot, it tells me where the other ones went, starting at that very short distance and gradually moving out. It showed me what I was doing. There was nothing wrong with the gun, nothing wrong with the sights. The ones that went off there were just flyers of mine. The rest of them I was able to simply stay on target, correct, starting at that first one and moving gradually back. I was able to correct and still get 2 out of 3 shots in the bullseye on that last one. So this is what I'm talking about. Don't start way out here somewhere 20 yards away from your target and try to figure out what you need to do from that distance. Start close, move back a little bit, move back a little bit. You may see 1 or 2 go off. Don't get distressed by that or think there's something wrong with the gun. Just zero back in, concentrate on everything that you've learned, pull that trigger, and see if you don't get those things on target. And if you get 2 or 3 on target, you have 1 that's way off, that means you just had a flyer. And all of us who shoot and shoot regularly, no matter how much experience we have flyers when we shoot out on the gun range with our pistols, shooting off-handed. That's just the way it is. So that's the example right there. I'll move the camera up closer so you can see all the targets now and see how the progression was. What we've got here is the first one where stuff splattered everywhere. I hit right in here. See, there's no problem with that. Move down, cut the bullseye out here. I did 6 shots on this one and saw these two were got one a little bit low here, but these are all just right here in this center area. Then went to this one up here. I had a flyer. That's what you don't want to worry about. Don't worry about the flyers. Look for those right there. If you're getting these and you got one flyer, that's something you did. It's not the gun, it's not the sights. These right here, another flyer. 2 of them up here. The last one, 2 of them in here touching the bullseye, and 1 flyer down here. These are ones that I did. That's just me off. These show what the gun and the sights are actually doing. It's working. Anything that misses off of that is me losing control somewhere in my hand and grip. So that's the way it works. That's how you can set up your targets to shoot your gun and to get that gun to where you've got it figured out as far as how the sights are set. If the gun is shooting where it is supposed to be shooting insofar as the sights are concerned, is start close, move back a little bit, a little further, a little more until you determine where those shots are going based on how the gun is set and whether or not these down here are something that you're doing. So target placement, very, very important. I can't tell you, I've been to the range multiple times over the years with people who thought they had a defective gun. They were about to take a gun back or send it back to the manufacturer thinking there was something wrong with it. So they asked me, would you go out and help me with it first? And I've gone out with people and I've done exactly what we did right here. I've moved targets right up close to them. I said, start right there. And the look of surprise on their face is really something because nobody is thinking about starting that close. They think you're supposed to start way out here somewhere. The reality is, in every case where I've ever gone out with anybody that thought they had a defective gun, a defective handgun, moving the target up close to them like this showed them they did not have a defective gun. It was how they needed to adjust their shooting. So target placement is critically important. Start close. Look and see where that gun is shooting. Look where you're shooting with that gun. Move back a little bit. That'll begin to show you where you need your correction. Moving back further to 20 or 25 feet. That'll show you exactly what you're doing with the gun. It'll show you where the gun is shooting based on what you're looking at, how you're pulling the trigger, how you're set on that target. And you'll see from time to time a flyer. That's you. That's not the gun. But it'll be determined by that target right there, and it'll let you know exactly what that gun is doing, what it's doing in your hand, how you're shooting, and how those sights are set based on this test right here. Target placement, get that right along with everything else you've done, and you'll be working on and developing your accuracy and shooting skills in no time at all. I'm Mark, and I'll see you again soon in another video.